Gorgeous night in San Antonio, Texas. 83 degrees. Toyota Field for the regular season finale. Detroit City FC in town to take on SAFC. San Antonio already eliminated from playoff contention, currently sitting 9. That is the Western Conference as of today. In the East for Detroit, they are currently in 3rd, have secured a home playoff match for the first time in franchise history, but they do have something to play for this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Tyler Denning, Katie Goodman, you've been here for all of them. Let's talk Detroit first. This team going to the playoffs. They have something to play for tonight.
That they do. They want to clinch that number 3 spot. They've already got that home bye, but, you know, they want to go out winning because they've got playoffs on the line, and you want to build that momentum going into the next game.
So for San Antonio, not in the playoffs, something that these fans are not accustomed to, but you've watched every match, as I said. What are the bright spots for this season?
Yeah, so the bright spots are that they are still in contention, or they were still, in contention up until the second to the last game. They overcame the adversity, different lineup every single game, yet they hung around. That is not easy to do. Not only that, they had an unbeaten streak in the last 4 and only 2 losses in those last 9 games. And then, of course, we got to see some really next-level talent here in Jorge Hernandez, Luis Solignac, and then in Kendall Burks.
And it will be an emotional night as well, as we will see a staple for San Antonio's defense playing in his final match.
And it's so sad to see one of my favorite players that I've watched this season. He's got those timely goals early, late, or, you know, when you need a goal for momentum, he's there, he does it all. Might as well put a superhero cape on him, and he will be wearing the captain badge here tonight.
Yeah, you know that his teammates definitely want to send Carter Manley off with a victory tonight, but they will very much be tested against Detroit.
And we're looking forward to it. I think at this point it's about leaving a lasting impression. That's something that Coach Marcina had mentioned prior to the game is, you know, you have a good starting impression, now leave a good lasting impression. Do it for the fans, do it for yourselves, do it for the team.
Regular season finale here at Toyota Field. Detroit FC, SAFC starting lineups and opening kick when we come back.
I'm gonna be late.
Sorry.
And drive safe out there as there's plenty of traffic heading to today's big game. Ready to go.
You almost missed the start of the game.
Right now, qualified buyers get 2.99% APR financing for 72 months on a rugged new 2024 Tundra. Offer ends November 4th.
Dear Texas, we know how much you love brisket. We got you. We took mouth-watering brisket, slowly pit-smoked for 12 hours, and combined it with your favorite queso and pico. And so, H-E-B Brisket Queso was born. Because that's how we express our love. Looks like you got the message. Brisket Queso. To Texas with love from H-E-B.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know.
When your family is growing, we're here for you throughout your pregnancy with just the right care and support for you, for your baby, as your family welcomes your newest little ray of sunshine.
Regular season finale at Toyota Field. Good crowd coming out to watch the final match for San Antonio FC. 14-9 on the season. Detroit City FC, they will play more. Theirs will be at home to begin the playoffs for a team that has won 14, 11, and 8. Starting lineup for San Antonio tonight.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of changes. Unfortunately, Carter Manley, of course, he's going to be retiring, so he'll be in the mix. Trovo Boni will be taking the place of Mitchell Tainer. We will not see him for the remainder of the season. And then just a couple of other changes up top. You got Jake LaCava up top, Lucho Machok Scholl also handling business in the attack.
So that's the 3-4-3 for San Antonio. And Manly, Detroit City FC, names to watch, numbers to watch. Katie, who you got?
Yeah, Connor Roots is doing a pretty good job, but it's really Ben Morris up there. 8 goals, 4 assists. The guy that you want to try and shut down. It's going to be a challenge. You also got Maxi Rodriguez there on the right. 9 goals and 5 assists. A San Antonio native who can handle business. So for them, it's shutting down the right side of the field pretty much.
Detroit in the white kit, split in half with the gold. Garrett on the bottom for San Antonio. The red tops adorned with the black sleeves, black shorts. Referee J.C. Griggs. This is the 3rd meeting all time between these two. Last season they met at Keyworth. That is the home field for Detroit City. It was a 1-0 win for them. Last meeting in San Antonio was in 22. SAFC 1-0 in that one. Early challenge and a turnover. Katie, one would think San Antonio can play very loose tonight.
They could. I mean, I think there's a certain freedom that comes with that, with not having a ton of expectations. Great receive there from Jake.
Opportunity early on. Going for that upper 90 with the left foot for LaCava, just wide.
I mean, so early on, I love to see it from San Antonio. That's something they've struggled with, but he's able to find space there. We've seen Detroit let up that kind of goal before, not tracking the runner. They don't do so well when you have a player dribbling at him full speed. I think, I can guarantee you, actually, that's probably what was coached there going into this game.
For a San Antonio team that has struggled at times with goal scoring 45 seconds in, that's what you love to see. Good look on frame.
Yes, and I think a big part of that, too, is they had their top 2 prospects as goal scorers not available for the entire first half of the season. And I'm speaking mostly here about Lucho, battled injury, but came back in, and as soon as he did, he was an immediate game changer of a player. So when we talk about bright spots on this team, he's definitely one of those who's never wavered. He's played through pain and he's still been able to produce. And then you've got Jorge Hernandez as well, who just completely unshaken. Doesn't matter the 10 guys around him, he's able to really make things happen, and I think that's the mark of a truly unique player.
Ball played to the back line. Manley, who we'll talk about plenty, playing his final match as a professional and for San Antonio as the ball is into the Detroit box, but plinked around back to the goalkeeper. We were excited. We wanted to see their regular goalkeeper on the evening, Nathan Steinwasser. He scored a goal, just the 4th goalkeeper to do such in USL Championship history last week, but Detroit giving him the opportunity to get a little rest. It's Carlos Saldana that is back in frame tonight for Detroit City.
And he was the first to do it for Detroit City, which was pretty cool. And he also had an assist against San Antonio FC last season. So definitely a guy with a target on his back here at Toyota Field. And I think wise there on coach to give him a rest as they move into playoffs. You know, it's kind of like a double-edged sword on that one. You want to give them rest, but you also don't want to stifle the momentum that these guys have built. So, you know, wouldn't be surprised if there's not some sort of substitution with some more familiar faces going into the second half, just to try to keep a solid 45 minutes going into playoffs.
You mentioned head coach Danny DiCio, first season at the helm for Les Rouges, Detroit FC, 2 seasons prior at Sacramento Republic.
Another amazing program as well. So I think you can see that he brought that caliber here to Detroit City. I feel like they already had, you know, the bones of the intense identity, the hard work, and I think he just polished it a little bit, and that's why you've seen them do so well this season.
14-11 and 8 plus 11 goal differential for DiCio's group. They are 13th in goals scored with 42, 16th in shots amongst all USL Championship teams. Second best, though, Katie, this is where they've been really good in goals conceded. Just 31 on the season, 7th in clean sheets. So a good defensive team, a good goalkeeping team.
And that's what you need going into playoffs. Don't they say defense wins championships? You know, when push comes to shove and you've got some power offenses going head-to-head, it's when your defense comes in.
Detroit coming off a 3-0 victory over the Miami FC. last Saturday. It was Reese Williams with the goal. He was named to the USL Championship Team of the Week. Number 2 in white and gold is Detroit pushes forward. The ball onto the foot of Williams. Cross in. Pablo Cisniega, who had his newborn out on the field in pregame warm-ups.
Tiny little newborn.
Yeah. That is great hands to have a newborn in. The goal keeps hands. You would figure safe hands there very much. Hard challenge by Jorge Hernandez. Fighting to keep the ball.
I was going to say, what better hands to be in than your dad's goalkeeping gloves, right? You know those are sticky. You have to give that kid a bath, probably. See
the challenge?
Yeah, little scuffle here. Not surprised at all. Jorge Hernandez always in the middle of it. Tends to be the aggressor. Leads the team in yellow cards, or up there, at least in the ranks of yellow cards. But I think as a coach, I would take that any day, especially in exchange for the assists. It's that aggressive nature that he brings to the field that I think, just at that heart, that really gets him into some tricky places.
It was Maximiliano Rodriguez that he was scrapping with. You had made mention, roots here in San Antonio.
He also played for San Antonio FC a couple seasons ago, and just a name that USL Championship has really become familiar with, and it's just not often you see that coming right out of San Antonio. So
a whistle deep in the Detroit zone. Fans will express their displeasure as it goes against SAFC.
We'll have a look back at this and trying to build himself out of pressure. It's a nice little meg, but I don't know if I would call that a foul. Maybe a little bit of a check, a body check. Ref might have seen something a little different.
For San Antonio, their last match, a 1-1 draw against Louisville City FC. That's big as they are trying to prevent, or in that case, they were Louisville City FC from besting and tying the record for wins in a season that SAFC set in 2022. We'll keep our eye on that match. But Katie, you had made mention of San Antonio down the closing stretch. This team did not give up. They've been fighting, playing well to close the season.
Yeah, I mean, they went on a streak there where we thought things were really going to turn around, even to the point of where if they were to win this game and some other things were to happen around the league, they could actually be tied to make it into playoffs, but they would lose on goal differential. So on one hand, it's kind of like, man, bittersweet. But on the other hand, it's, I think, a testament to their heart and determination.
Yeah, they haven't lost a match since September 28th. That was 3-1 against Rhode Island. But coming into this, they were locked into that 9 spot just outside of the 8 teams that make it in both conferences. Detroit in good form as well. They have not lost since August 24th. 4 wins and 4 draws. Part of the reason they will be playing at home for the first time in club history. Seeding is still TBD. They have the head-to-head tiebreaker over Indy 11. So in this one, Detroit needing a draw or better to clinch the 3 seed in the East.
It's so nice, though, knowing that you already have a home game in the can. You've got your fans, of course, the 12th man.
You don't have to worry about travel, your travel plans for all the coordination that has to go on with it.
Right.
Just know, hey, we're going to be at the crib, in our bed, and we can start the playoffs at home.
And really key, because at the end of the season is where all those tricky little injuries are starting to creep up, those aches and pains that can turn into more if you're spending a ton of time traveling all over the place. So yeah, just being at home at this time of the year is really important. Traveling
has not, though, been hard for Detroit. They have not lost on the road since July 31st. 3-3-0 since. They are a 7-5-4 on the road. That is second best amongst all USL Championship squads. Approaching the 9-minute mark, seen one good opportunity. LaCava had a look at the upper 90 in the first minute of the match for San Antonio.
knock there for Nelson Flores Blanco. Not good to see, especially just last game of the season. Yeah, there's going to be some rest on the other side, but you definitely don't want to pick up anything crazy as you try to make a name for yourself into the next season. You know, this is a squad where there hasn't been a ton of success despite the historical success that we've seen from San Antonio. Coach Marcina, since 2020, is still the winningest has the winningest program in USL Championship history despite having this season. That's impressive. But what that tells you is there's a lot of guys out here tonight you're probably not going to see again.
You've spoke a ton with Coach Marcina over the course of the season, spoke with him this week. How do you think he feels about this season, evaluating how it went down? You said personnel change. We know the injuries, but what's your read from Coach?
Well, I think, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you can only really look at the game ahead, right? And one thing that he did tell his players was, hey, we can have something to play for or we cannot. But, you know, lasting impressions matter. Whether you stay at this program or you go somewhere else, it's an individual battle just as much as a collective battle out here tonight. You owe it to these guys that you've played with all season. You owe it to the people out in these seats who came out despite the fact that this team is not going to make it into the playoffs. I think that says a lot about the San Antonio market, how they feel about this team and this program, and their hope for the future, right? So you look at that. And then also, you know, of course, there's recruiting to be had in the future, but he's always got a list of names he's looking at. And, you know, a lot of those decisions can't be made until the very end, until you know who might be retiring, you know, calling it a day or not. Of course, Carter Manley announced his retirement early this morning. And, you know, initially I said, you know, sad to see, but really it's not, because he's done all the right things. He's actually a realtor in real life, a very successful
in
realtor.
real life.
In real life, IRL.
Outside of soccer.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you know, he actually got Realtor of the Month and Player of the Month at one point.
You're giving him some free pub here.
Pretty sweet, yeah. If you need a house, call Carter Manley.
I think all the time that he spent giving it his all on the pitch, it's worth the little plug for what he's doing, but has been an integral piece. And Katie was a piece that came over prior to the start of that 22 season that was the one that San Antonio had the most success they've had in franchise history. So an integral piece for San Antonio over the last 3-4 years.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that. Kevin Lambert. It seemed a little bit of a dramatic fall, but ref says play on here.
Yeah, there's not
Detroit
that much
City's
wind out there tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked like a gust of wind came out of nowhere on that one. But, you know, going back to Carter Manley, coach said he is one of the highest IQ players that he's ever coached. Ooh. He he went to Duke and played there, so, you know, gotta have the smarts to get into that university. So he's not worried about him in the very least. Some
space to move forward for Morris. The San Antonio defense gets back.
Hear coach yelling on the sideline saying step. Try not to let them carry the ball at you there in this situation. But really, San Antonio's doing a great job just to not give up anything silly here. It looks like they're out here playing for more.
Yeah, I love the point that you made, especially this day and age. Everything is on tape, and there are so many player tracking metrics that you're not just playing for your current game, your current job, playing for your future job as well for a lot of these players, whether that be at the current club that they are with or down the line. They have aspirations to continue their playing careers, so plenty to play for even when your team may be out of playoff contention. As mentioned, Detroit needing a draw or better to secure their spot as the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference.
You know, just looking at some of the, you know, of course this is a team that's deep, so you can bring some non-starters out and they're going to cause problems, but I'm going to hold that thought.
Moving forward, San Antonio back line is right there, and an ambitious effort right into the midst of Pablo Cisniega.
Some great work there from Detroit City, trying to find a seam. They really love to get into the corners. They love to use the flanks. We've seen it before where they'll kind of just play outside on the right side, try to commit some defenders, and then find a seam inside. So San Antonio really not taking the bait there. Again, they're a team that moves so well as a unit, even with not having the most successful season. Really defensively, they were up there in the league of interceptions, clearances. Kendall Burks, one of those players who has played the most minutes on this team, leads the team in clearances, leads the league in clearances, and has just been such a key piece to holding down that back line.
Manley jostling and eventually ends up with it, trying to play it forward. A whistle as a hard takedown of Lucho will give the ball and no card, it looks like. Thought about it. Thought he was digging. Did Griggs, what'd you think of the challenge?
Yeah, I mean, he was turning on a dime there, so I'm sure, he was kind of expecting him to go one way, took him out there, but also Lucho is the kind of player who you can't give space to, and that's exactly what he did. Knocked him on his behind because he was about to get beat. I
love how every player tries to game and add, 2-3 yards to where the ball should actually be, and without a doubt, the official always has to come over and spray right there and say, no, it's going there.
Well, this league is definitely the worst about it. Always trying to move up, just spin it, and luckily there's a lot of eyes out here from the referees to catch that kind of stuff.
Saldana will get his defense aligned. Jorge Hernandez. Talk about things to play for. San Antonio would love to get him an assist tonight. Could it be off of this? The service ball is in, headed out. Will stay down on the offensive side for San Antonio, but turned over by Buckmaster, going back the other way.
I mean, it was a great initial receiving of the ball, but this is the identity and the grit that we're talking about here with Detroit City. It may not always be pretty. They may not be, that #1 team in the league who can just pass all around and with the beautiful finishes, but it's that heart and that grit. I mean, beautiful diving header to start with, and then just recovering this ball defensively and making something of it into the attack.
Identity maybe mirroring the city of Detroit.
There you go. A little rough around the edges.
Hey, blue collar.
Blue collar, there you go.
Ball pushed forward. No defense there. Unmarked, running down the middle. It would have been tough to find. Buckmaster was trailing up. But Chol could not either get the ball there or see. It's a pretty healthy divot. About 10 yards outside of the box there on the right-hand side.
Quite the scuffle went down there, I think, between Buckmaster trying to recover that. That's where that transition kind of occurred.
Williams will throw the ball in.
Reese Williams, 3 goals and an assist under his belt from White Plains, New York. Spent some time at Stumptown AC. Speaking of blue collar here, there's a lot of guys who have mostly USL Championship experience and some European League experience, but not a ton of MLS, and they really take pride in that. So you can just feel that chip on their shoulder out here, I think, in this game, whereas a lot of these USL Championship teams are just trying to be the second team from MLS teams through recruiting and whatnot. It's just cool to see how this talent has been cultivated over the years.
Yeah, it's hard to keep a group together because if you have standout players, inevitably they're going to be looked at and poached. There's a miscommunication on the other end. Rutz that chested the ball out of bounds. It's led to the possession for San Antonio, but unable to make the most of it. Back the other way, some space to operate for Detroit. Good linkage. Another good pass. I'll have to fall back. Rutz working to the back line. Bryant.
San Antonio doing well to get numbers back just to stop that transition. But, man, I thought for sure that one was going to be a break. I think it was a bit of missed timing on the passes. I mean, you could see Maxi Rodriguez was about to lose his balance and then gets the ball up, and then that final pass was just a little too short, off pace. And so Wise to, just recycle it here. start again.
Detroit seems very content to do that. 3 times we've seen the ball go back to Saldana and build from the keep as a whistle.
Trevaboni's going to get a talking to. He has done so great in coming in off the bench and also, you know, stepping in when needed. Yeah, I got some hands on the hips there. That's going to get you in trouble. But again, such a great player to have, you know, depth-wise on the bench. There was one game Kendall Burks couldn't make it. He stepped in, did an incredible job. Now Mitch Tainer is out, you know, the kind of the face of San Antonio FC. And so he's had to step in once again and just really unshaken by it. You know, there's a lot of players who, you know, if they're not getting a ton of minutes and then they get some time at the end, they kind of have an attitude about it. He never had any of that.
Good pass, gets the ball back. Trying to turn and shoot. The ball was deflected, but easily collected by Cisniega.
Again, they love that give and go. It's just a little bit too much traffic. Good on Kevin Lambert there to get in and shut that down, to make it a little bit easier on Pablo Cisniega to collect.
Abdoulaye Diop is the Detroit player with the shot. Played over, now into the box. Turn and deflected. Now clear. Good action back and forth thus far to start this one, as just crossed the 21st minute mark. Tyler Denning, Katie Goodman. Regular season finale. And the final match of the season for San Antonio FC. They will finish 9th on the year. Detroit, a playoff team in the East. Little interconference matchup to close out the year. Interesting wrinkle.
Yeah, really interesting to go about it that way. As they try to go back and forth with it.
Ooh, tripped up. Good fight, but no malintent. It just looked like the boot was in between the wickets and put down.
Yeah, just a bit of an entanglement there. Nelson Flores Blanco tripped up as he was trying to build out of the back.
No Will and Jada.
Not that kind of entanglement. No, but Nelson Flores Blanco has done really such a great job for this team. When he first had his debut, he got off a flight and went right into the game and has not come out since because he's just done so well. He and Jorge Hernandez really have almost like telepathic abilities, I think, with one another. They do a great job out there just staying connected.
So off the plane, here's a jersey. Here's the pitch.
There you go. But, you know, I think this is the interesting part about, you know, those who watch standings and box scores and things. You know, it's so different when you've got a team in the East and the West. The West has, you know, past couple of seasons tend to be the stronger side of this league. And so to see them bring in a team from the East here at the last minute, despite it being a number 3 versus a team not in the playoffs. Yeah, that's a bit of a chippy slide tackle. No ball there in sight. It's going to go to San Antonio in a really tricky spot here, too. They can definitely make something from this. But I think this is what makes this game so interesting, was my main point there, is that you've got an East and a West team. You really don't know what to expect.
Yeah, just the third meeting between these two teams. Mentioned for Jorge Hernandez. Just the second player in USL history. Solomon Asante did it in 1920. That could claim the golden playmaker in consecutive seasons, but he needs at least 1 assist to do such. Right now currently tied with Noah Fuson of Rhode Island FC. Fuson has the tiebreaker, which is the assist to minutes ratio. I think you got to go with who has the coolest assist.
Yeah.
You know, do a fan vote.
There you go. I like that idea.
No tiebreak.
Come on.
But as you mentioned, for Hernandez, doesn't matter the pieces that are around him. He is always the engine that spurs the San Antonio offense.
Right, which should count for something. I mean, 32 different lineups in 33 games. He has been in almost every single game except one because of a red card, and yet he is still putting up those kinds of numbers without, you know, having a ton of goal-scoring power up top. I think you got to hand it to him, man.
4-on-5 as the defense regathers. A good job by Cisniega trying to play that one in the air. Kept floating on him and skied to punch the ball behind his head and keep it out of the netting.
Well done to parry that one away. I mean, that was quite the pulse check from that distance. Just not something you'd expect.
Joel was ready to go the other way, but the whistle stops play. Let's check out the ball from Williams. Woo!
Yeah, I think what happened is he wasn't expecting it. It deflected off of San Antonio, and so he wasn't set, so he had to do this little acrobatic move just to paw it away, and just good stuff there. Cat-like reflexes.
Yeah, that's an 8.5 out of 10 in terms of his execution with the trick score. Excellent save. Best opportunity we've seen thus far in the match for Detroit. What do they have here?
Carter Manley looks like the one who cleared that out. And again, that's why he's such a key piece that I think San Antonio's going to miss. He, of course, handles it on defense, but he has early goals, late goals, timely goals, bicycle kicks even.
Back the other way. It's 3-on-4. Played out to the wing. Mendez will pass through. Oh, just in front of Joel, who was up. Just a touch too much.
Yeah, and that just seems to be the trouble that San Antonio's had in recent times. I mean, they do a great job of winning things in the center of the field. They do a great job of building out of the back. It's just a lot of times that final pass in the attacking third. A lot of times it comes from the second and third pass, you know, making sure that you're getting your forwards set up for success. But
and just to show you that I do listen to you and I'm not just over here in my own world, 5 of the 6 career goals for Carter Manley, game winning or game time.
Yep. So, yep. I mean, the stats speak for themselves. Thank you. Thank you for that. Because I can tell you it happened. I just can't tell you exactly how many.
I'll be the goal finisher.
There you go.
Most memorable, probably a late game winner, was against Austin FC in the US Open Cup.
Yeah.
I know that there's some juice in that rivalry.
Oh, yeah. And funny enough, they haven't played us since publicly. So, you know, we're not going to talk about that too much more. But, yeah, Carter Manley. That's the thing is he, you know, every team has that guy who shows up big in key moments. He's just that guy. And that's hard to replace because you can watch game tape all day long. You can look at stats all day long, but it's hard to really pick those guys out of a lineup and add them to yours. And most people don't want to let him go either.
Yellow card presented to Burks. So our first card of the match coming in the 27th. Detroit, a good passing team that they've shown here in the first half. A strike from just inside the box. Beautiful right foot. Gets past Cisniega, and Detroit strikes first. Back in San Antonio, Maxi Rodriguez. That's the first goal of the match.
Yep, San Antonio native makes it 10 for the season. And it was only a matter of time with all that back-to-back movement, but just the vision of where he is in relation to the goal, the space that he has. You can't give him that space. He found the seam and the opposite side netting there. And it's just that composure for me, you know, and it was only a matter of time for him. I mean, he's been such a key piece here for Detroit. Again, that makes 10 goals for him on the season, 5 assists.
Maybe some friends and family in the crowd. You saw the emphatic, my house. Has to feel good to play home.
Oh, absolutely.
Playing with some of that juice. So does San Antonio have a response here? No whistle on the takedown as Lucho all the way to the pitch.
Look back at that, and oh, that is just really a yucky tackle. But that looks like a flop, or well, maybe there's a cramp. Just trying to take some time out there and walk it off. Have a look back at it here. He's kind of walking and oh, just clipped barely on the toe, but definitely was not intentional.
Two got together.
Yeah, it was good sportsmanship after that. Surprisingly, Bonnie not called for the high kick there.
Now we're hearing the whistle quite a bit.
Tempers rising, which you would expect with this kind of game. You know, you've got two teams who are rough around the edges. Both have a chip on their shoulder. Both are extremely physical. Ref's going to have to start containing the game here a little more.
There's Lucho and the goal scorer, Maxi Rodriguez.
Also, Stephen Carroll, the captain, his 2 goals under his belt, was there in that scuffle. Cisniegas trying to get his guys up. Like San Antonio got a little bit out of formation. I think they were definitely expecting to build out of the back there, just couldn't get set in that long drive up.
Lambert grappling, whistled for the takedown of Rodriguez, will shoot him a friendly glare.
Yeah, some hands on the shoulders, up and over the back. But San Antonio's still not out of it. Still plenty of time here in the half.
Ball shot out by Blanco leads to a whistle. San Antonio trying to go quick. Ball just off the heels, and then now the head on the ricochet of Williams.
I tell you what, Jorge is always involved in some sort of a shenanigan.
A handshake between J.C. Griggs and Williams. 2 Williams on the Detroit roster. It's Reese and Ryan, no relation. Ryan from Birkenhead, England, and Reese Williams, White Plains, New York. Maybe related somewhere down the line. But
maybe they're second or third cousins. You never know. Can never be too sure. I haven't heard of any relations, though.
Detroit, very technically sound team, and it looks like they have a pitch full of players very equipped to ball handle.
Yeah, and I think that's what happens when you have a team who has that drive and that grit, and then you add a little bit of polish and start playing really pretty, and that's how you end up in really that 3rd place spot. Near miss there from Lucho.
Lucho sends a souvenir. Plenty of juice on that ball.
I love the quick trigger. You know, I think that's why he has so many goals as he does for San Antonio this season. Has scored in every away match that he's been a part of. And, you know, he just doesn't waste time. Really sees the field so well. Alan Marcina mentioned he could absolutely be a coach one day. He said that he's not too sure about it. Would maybe like to have a cafe in Italy or in Argentina instead.
Ooh. Yeah, those are probably diametrically opposed in terms of the spectrum stress levels.
Yes, and I think that's why.
Fighting through, trying to get a look on goal. There's good pressure for Lucho.
Bit of espresso there for the Argentinian. Great turn from Jake LaCava to find him in that space, but just Detroit City doing a great job of shutting things down. But it feels like a matter of time. Mucho, one of those guys who he will play to the final whistle. Doesn't matter where you're at in the standings, what the stakes are. It's a heart and soul situation for him.
Serving up a double shot of the last couple minutes. See if he has maybe a try or a quad. You seem like a quad shot.
Oh, I am more of a chai latte gal.
Corner kick for San Antonio. Ball all the way out to midfield. Yeah, it's really been a drought in terms of scoring opportunities for San Antonio prior to last two looks from Lucho. Have to go back to that opening 45 seconds that LaCava had the look. Whistle coming, too much grappling ruts with the hand. Quick play, San Antonio back to Chol. Another corner. Active night for Blanco.
Yeah.
Both sides of the pitch, defensively, offensively.
Yeah, and that's what's so great about him. That's why he's kept his starting position and racked up all the minutes that he has this season, is because he has that next level effort to get back and forward. Really the engine that doesn't stop.
Low service ball. This one dealt with by Detroit. The header brings the ball out to midfield. San Antonio will have to build from behind the line.
Detroit not taking the bait as they're trying to bring it back and recycle it here. Pretty tough to force it in from here and with that kind of congestion. So smart there. A lot of patience from San Antonio.
And it forces the mistake. Lambert loses the pass out of bounds. Throw in coming for Detroit.
Sometimes you have those fast players on the wing and you just think they're supersonic fast and that they're going to get to every ball, so you want to play them to space. I say that as it's happened to me many times back in the day. Relied on speed a lot, but it's not speed of light.
The area where the goal came from, played in, cleared out. Lambert there with the right boot.
And again, you know, we go back to bright spots. There are so many things that they're doing well out on the field. The connections, the movement from the defense through the midfield, the winning of balls in the midfield on the 50-50s. But then it's paired with really unlucky moments or silly turnovers, things that you just can't take back.
Good ball received by Chol, who tried to turn. Gets away, and Saldana eventually can collect, trying to fight off.
We also had a nice little crowd out here last night for the NWSL Summer Cup. It's an in-season tournament, even though it's fall. Very strange to be called Summer Cup here in October.
Still feels like summer.
Yeah. It is South Texas. So.
Felt like last week we had turned the corner, but no.
Yeah.
90 degrees, it's been all week. As you can see from the players working out there plenty, it is still hot. It's been a busy to talk the game. You've been busy the last couple of days. The women's game participating in broadcasts and things for you. Tell us about that last couple of days.
Yeah. So I was just, at the Summer Cup, rubbing elbows with people and shadowing and learning from the greats like Jenny Chu. And then I spent some time with Julie Foudy, learning from her over at the U.S. Women's National Team broadcast up in Austin. They played and beat Iceland. It was Emily Sonnet's 100th cap, and then they had 6 new debuts as well that day, and all 3 goals came from young ladies, 2 of them 19, one of them that I had played against when I played semi-pro, Alyssa Thompson. So it was just cool to see how it all came together and how there's really a passing of the torch for U.S. women's soccer, and that it's here in South Texas.
Free ball. Can't find the head. Maintains possession. Blanco trying to step around the defense throwing for Detroit. Interesting for you as well to see it now. You mentioned colleagues, former teammates of yours, but now you're on the broadcaster side.
Yeah, and I love it.
But you got some games under your belt now too, so you're no longer the newbie.
Is that the case? I mean, It's like I'm two seasons in here, and probably a couple hundred games under my belt. So yeah, but it's funny because you're always continually learning, and I think when you go around these big broadcasts, you realize, okay, there are still some things to learn, especially from these people who have done it for 20 plus years and who've really been in the industry from day one. But as an athlete, when I think of a lot of these guys who are going to retire, I think of, hey, it might come a point where they just want to smell the grass again, and they want coaching points, and they want that community and camaraderie, and you get a lot of that as even a broadcaster.
Yeah, it's very difficult to step from the pitch to the booth in any sport. Is you hear the whistle and see if there's any carding to come with it.
Lucho might get in trouble for this one. Didn't really see it happening. Gave a tiny bit of a little extra push to continue that momentum there. Doesn't look like he's going to get booked for it, though.
Well, he might have if he kept talking. It seemed as if.
Yeah. They take dissent really seriously nowadays.
Yeah, the referee was content to let it go, but Lucho would not. We're into the 41st minute. The goal came from San Antonio product and former SAFC player Maxi Rodriguez in the 28th minute. Strike from just inside. Attacking box, the right foot. San Antonio opportunities early.
And that's another thing. Like, San Antonio hasn't lost by a ton, really. They've lost by maybe 2-3 goals here and there, but they've put up some equal goals. So I think, there's the Phoenix Rising game. That was a 4-0 loss, but, for the most part, I think that just tells you how close it is here in this league.
Corner for Detroit. Came down off the head, but misplayed off the chip. Slide tackle. Kept on the ground, is trying to pick up the pursuit after he frees the ball. Did LaCava.
Yeah, ref's going to let that one go because it was all ball. It was just he was being held back when he tried to get up to get it.
LaCava playing with some good energy tonight.
Yes. And again, he's one of those who's come in and had to step up since Juan Agudelo has been injured. Agudelo did a great job to put some points on the board here for San Antonio. But it's tough to fill those shoes when it's late in season. You started getting a rhythm going, especially Lucho and Agudelo. They had a lot of good going. Jorge and Agudelo.
Some space moving forward. Blanco shouldered by the defender trying to cross. It will lead to a San Antonio corner after the ball deflects off of Bryant.
Yeah, unfortunately for San Antonio, it's just a little too late. Hold the rest of that thought here until.
Hernandez, another short service that is easily dealt with for the time being. Shouldered down in that. Right place, right time for both. The opportunity on the shot for Lucho and the save from Saldana.
Man, an absolute rocket there from Lucho. You just wish that one had gone in because it just looked so good and from distance, and that's why he's racking up goals.
Hernandez plays it to the short post again. It will come right back to him.
It's tough to take a third corner in a row. That's where you kind of want to change things up. Have someone go short or get some movement in the box.
Serves this one up a little higher. This one chipped forward into the mitts of Saldana. So good sequence for San Antonio. Good look from Lucho, but nothing doing goal scoring wise.
Really close to equalizing there before that final whistle here, moving into the second half. But, you know, there is that reoccurring theme of too little, too late that I had mentioned prior to that initial sequence of corner kicks, where there was a point in time where they had 9 losses in 10 games. And it's just like, how do you come back from that? But then they kind of did. They almost did. But I think if they could have turned any of those losses into a draw, then we'd be having a very different conversation here. But I think, you know, as these guys move into the next season, wherever they're going to play, whether it's here or somewhere else, it's like remembering. It's remembering the importance of winning early on and in midseason.
1 minute of stoppage time added as the ball bouncing around as San Antonio's cranked up the pressure in the closing minutes of the opening half, down 1-0, having to hustle back. A challenge, and the whistle will be blown, and a card will come out as it was one-on-one. Cisniega was coming out, and wow. This is not the way you would want to see Manly finish.
Oh, man.
He's sent off with a red card.
Oh, unfortunate. It was that hand over the shoulder. He's the final defender, so that is how you're going to get booked there with the red. It wasn't aggressive or flagrant. It's the fact that he's the last defender. So unfortunate for him to go out in retirement with a red. As you can see, getting some consolation there for Maxi Rodriguez. I'm hoping the announcer picks up that it's his last game. Let the crowd know. Give him his flowers here, if that is the case. Lots to talk about here.
First, what'd you see on the challenge?
On the challenge, it's a good call from the ref. And I hate to say that because Carter Manley is such a great guy. You know, he's not a red card guy. He was in the moment, going for ball, definitely. But it was that hand over the shoulder and him being the last defender. He sacrificed a final sacrifice here for his team. And he can pat himself on the back for that. But to know that he's got to be in the locker room for this final game is heartbreaking.
So receives the ovation from the San Antonio crowd, but this the challenge on Carter Manley, who you hate to see the red card, but going down fighting every bit. So Manley sent off before the whistle, just the juncture in which it came, as well as now a goal too off of the red card. Detroit capitalizes on the opportunity, and they will head into the locker room up 2-0.
Oh man, salt in the wounds here. I mean, you could hear the crowd chanting "Ref, you suck," which they're known to do. But look at this dime of a finish, bending it over the wall. Nothing Pablo Cisniega could do there. Really gave it his best effort. Beautiful, beautiful stuff from Detroit.
So the emotional wind and the game wind out of the sails momentarily for San Antonio as they see their captain sent off, Manley in his final match, and then off the penalty, Ryan Williams converts in the extra time. Katie, this was after San Antonio from really minute 40 on had pressed with the best sustained energy that we had seen, but it leads to the leak out. The red card given to Manley and capitalized by Williams as the teams will head to the locker rooms 2-0.
Man, it just feels like a continuation of the tale that we've heard throughout all of season, just setback after setback. But let's see what they do with this 45 minutes. You know, maybe they have a little more to play for, feeling round here at the very end of this half. They might come out with a little bit of an extra chip on their shoulder. Don't know until we see.
So unfortunate for San Antonio and for Carter Manley to see his night end with a red card. Opportunities for the home squad could not capitalize. Detroit did. In the 28th, Maxi Rodriguez, and then off the penalty, 2-0 as we hit the half.
Hi, sports fans. I'm Jeff Davis. Going head-to-head with insurance companies is no easy game. It requires determination, gamesmanship, and grit. That's why you need Davis Law Firm on your side. With over 25 years' experience, our team of around 150 in 7 Texas cities has a winning track record of verdicts and settlements, many in the millions of dollars. And just like your favorite team, we play to win. If you're hurt in a car, truck, or commercial vehicle accident, call us at 444-4444. So if you want more, call the fours.
When you shop or donate at Goodwill, you help create good jobs in our community. Visit goodwillsa.org/goodjob. Good job, everyone.
I'm gonna be late.
Sorry.
And drive safe out there as there's plenty of traffic heading to today's big game. Ready to go.
You almost missed the start of the game.
Right now, qualified lessees can lease a new 2024 Tundra SR5 for $439 a month for 36 months. Offer ends November 4th.
Who can tell me what they want to be when they grow up? Rico?
Are you seriously gonna have nachos for all?
Dear Texas, we know how much you love brisket. We got you. We took mouth-watering brisket, slowly pit smoked for 12 hours, and combined it with your favorite queso and pico. And so, H-E-B Brisket Queso was born. Because that's how we express our love. Looks like you got the message. Brisket Queso, to Texas with love, from H-E-B.
Então, a língua para mim foi um desafio. Nunca falei inglês na minha vida, é a primeira vez. Então, foi um desafio muito grande. Procurei sempre estar com meus amigos, conversar para entender. E me mover para cá foi um desafio que eu criei para mim. Acho que eu estava muito confortável, vivendo muito tempo em Portugal. E quando apareceu esse desafio, essa chance de vir para cá, eu criei isso em mim e vim com um novo desafio. Nos conhecemos através do Abu, um jogador que jogava aqui, num jogo da Pre-Season. Nos conhecemos, conversamos, trocamos nossos números e a partir daí a gente criou uma relação muito grande. E eles me ajudaram a me adaptar aqui, a me sentir mais em casa. E ter alguém que fale a nossa língua, que nos entenda, ainda mais em um país diferente, acho que é muito importante para a adaptação. E eles nisso para mim foram muito importantes.
I started to come to games for San Antonio games like 2 years ago. I have a son. My son play also in the academy. Lucas moved here. He started the year, so we feel very, very happy, because we Brazilian we like to match, to talk. We really feel like we have a member of our family. I call him my son. He's my old son, and that's been espetacular.
A minha relação com a família é uma relação realmente de família, né? Eu me senti abraçado, me sinto como um filho, sinto que tem um irmãozinho ali também. Então eu sou muito grato por terem me aceitado na família deles, por me deixarem confortável, por me abraçarem aqui nesse desafio. E momento especial, acho que todos os momentos que eu tenho com eles são especiais, porque são pessoas que me fazem bem aqui, que me fazem feliz, mesmo nos momentos que eu estou mais triste, mesmo nos meus desafios. Eles estão sempre ali comigo. Eu acho que todos os momentos que estamos juntos são muito especiais. Mas eu tenho 2 que são muito especiais para mim. Foi meu primeiro gol aqui, que eles estavam lá, dediquei para eles. E tem vários momentos especiais também que eu acho, quando a gente vai assistir nosso irmãozinho jogar ali. Acho que é um momento especial da família, a gente se diverte muito. Eles também ficam muito felizes. Desde do meu primeiro jogo aqui na Pre-Season, de portas abertas. Eu vi que aqui os fãs abraçam muito o clube, vivem muito o clube, e isso para mim é muito importante. Então, desde a primeira vez que eu pisei ali, eu pisei no gramado, meu primeiro jogo, as primeiras sensações ali sempre foram incríveis, sempre me trataram super bem. Então, para mim está sendo uma experiência incrível representar o San Antonio, representar essa torcida incrível, e eu espero poder ajudar muito ainda o San Antonio e todos os fãs. Então, a mensagem que eu quero deixar é que podem contar muito comigo, muito com o Lucas, como pessoa, como atleta, que toda vez que eu puder entrar, que eu puder ajudar, que eu tiver 100%, eu vou dar o meu melhor. Vou dar o meu melhor pelo San Antonio, vou dar o meu melhor pelos fãs, e é isso. Acho que vocês podem contar aqui com um atleta que nunca vai desistir, que vai dar sempre o seu melhor, sempre focado, sempre feliz.
Is it somebody's birthday?
Dad, come watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
New flavors. The same traditions. Be the guest of honor. Add more flavor to your parties. El Jimador. Spiked Bebidas.
Welcome to Do or Die. Welcome to stories that give meaning to it all. The juggernaut chasing history. The hero hoping for a Hollywood ending. The upstart determined to make the most of its shot at glory. Welcome to second-guessing everything. Every coach's decision. Every referee's call. Every pass, shot, tackle, save. Because you know it all means more now. Welcome to the playoffs.
We might as well invite...
When mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Yeah, trick. I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead.
Welcome back to Toyota Field. San Antonio FC trailing 2-0 to Detroit City FC. Tyler Denning, Katie Goodman. Wow, what a couple minutes. There was just a minute added to stoppage time in the first half. Carter Manley was the player that we were going to talk about, given so much to this franchise over the last couple of years. Sent off via red card immediately thereafter. It was Ryan Williams that capitalized with the goal. Detroit heads to the locker room, up 2-0.
It was an absolute heartbreaker if you're a San Antonio fan, because not only are you losing a key guy who deserves all the flowers and respect in Carter Manley, but then it was followed up with salt in the wounds by an amazing set piece. You can't deny that from Detroit City. It was beautiful. But they're going into this locker room right now, and forget the X's and O's. At this point is, how do you convince your guys to bring another 45 minutes to channel that heart? What does this 45 minutes mean to each individual player? You're a man down. And so, it could be for some their last 45. And so it's showing up and giving your all here in this moment.
Let's show you how we got to 2-0. It started out well for San Antonio. LaCava forced his way through and pushed one wide, but then after that it was really Detroit.
Right. I mean, they were doing such a great job to get into scoring position, to move forward, and it just didn't pan out there for San Antonio. And then this is the goal that really kind of sucked the wind out of the sails, so to speak, there for San Antonio FC. Maxi Rodriguez, you just can't give him that amount of space. If you can tell these guys anything in the second half, it's close it down a little bit sooner. And then this is the heartbreaking play for Carter Manley. It was that hand over the shoulder. He's the last defender. As you can see there, ref already had that red card in his hand. And then here's the salt in the wounds from Ryan Williams. Just beautiful, bending it over the wall. Picture perfect finish. I mean, give him his flowers too. It's just, if you're a San Antonio fan, that was tough.
Okay, so you talked 45 minutes. We know San Antonio, their season ending tonight. Detroit, with this result, they will solidify their place in 3. If you're San Antonio, what do you need to bring in this 45 minutes?
It's bringing what this means to you as an individual. You know, whether you stay here or whether you go, it's playing your best if you're out there down a man. There are coaches, there are people in the industry watching, and they're looking at your character in this moment. Character is going to triumph ability all day long here. And so you know these guys are thinking that. But not only that, try to give something spectacular and fun. Hey, why not give them a run for their money? Maybe put another one in, you know, a pulse check, so to speak. Maybe a body check. You know, be angry about it. They should be. They can be. So that if I'm coach, that's what I'm telling them right now. And close down the spaces and the gaps.
Stats from the first half: 4 shots apiece, 2 on target for Detroit City. Anything stand out to you?
Yeah, the 17 total crosses from San Antonio, 5 corners outweighing the 1 from Detroit. The fact of the matter is it's not an effort issue. It's that Detroit is just taking advantage of their chances. They get a look at the goal. They put it away there. As you can see, only 2 shots on target for Detroit, both of those resulting in goals.
So disappointment for Carter Manley being sent off. Will not get to play the final 45 minutes, but we will get to talk about him, the impact he's had on this franchise. But 45 minutes left for San Antonio FC in this regular season, currently trailing 2-0 against Detroit City.
What would you do if you won a big jackpot? Buy a new car. Take a vacation. Pay off your house. Turn your dreams into reality at Texas' premier entertainment destination. Kickapoo Lucky Eagle Casino Hotel in Eagle Pass, Texas.
3 nuns were driving through Austin and they got a flat tire. They stop in front of a frost bank. Next thing you know, a frost banker walks out and changes their tire? Hold on. This can't be real.
It's a real story.
And the nuns?
Yeah, they weren't even frost customers.
Dude! You think I can be a nun?
Not a chance, sister.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know.
When your family is growing, we're here for you throughout your pregnancy with just the right care and support for you, for your baby, as your family welcomes your newest little ray of sunshine.
Teams across the USL Championship concluding their regular season tonight. Will be the conclusion for San Antonio FC. Detroit City FC will set their sights on the playoffs. The result remains they have solidified their spot as the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. Some news and notes across the USL presented by Tiger Bomb. We wanted to see Steinwasser tonight, the regular goalkeeper for Detroit City FC and a goal scorer.
Yes, I mean, absolutely finished the job. How often do you put your keeper on the PK spot? I think that's impressive. And also had an assist against San Antonio as well in that last matchup in 2023. Guy's making a name for himself.
See Rhode Island FC setting the league record for the most drawn contests in a regular season at 15 as well. So we'll be back with the second half. Detroit leading 2-0.
All my favorites for just $7 each? That's crazy. Or am I crazy?
Seeing sevens? It's a sign to order from Pizza Hut's $7 Deal Lovers menu.
I'm gonna be late.
And drive safe out there as there's plenty of traffic heading to today's big game.
You almost missed the start of the game.
Right now, qualified buyers get 2.99% APR financing for 72 months on a rugged new 2024 Tundra. Offer ends November 4th.
Who can tell me what they want to be when they grow up? Rico?
Are you seriously gonna have nachos for all?
When you shop or donate at Goodwill, you help create good jobs in our community. Visit goodwillsa.org/goodjob. Good job, everyone.
Dear Texas, we know how much you love brisket, so we gave you brisket queso, loaded waffle fries, and brisket jalapeno poppers. Brisket lovers, we got you. To Texas with love from H-E-B.
Back underway, second half at Toyota Field. San Antonio began with an opportunity.
Yeah, and there's a lot of changes here going into the second half. You've got Hugo in the mix, Luke Hawkinson in the mix. Looks like they're overloading the front. They've got 4 or 5 up top now, trying to put themselves into scoring position, which tells me that San Antonio is not done with it yet. Luke Hawkinson has been that plug-and-play guy all season. He must be battling injury to be coming in at this point in the game. But I really love to see it from San Antonio. I feel like, again, that speaks to their character. It gives them something to play for, to fight for as well. It's tough to go back into the game and do the same exact thing and try to just muscle it out. I love that they're just trying literally anything, switching it up and seeing what happens, trying to rely really more on their back 3 or 4 in this moment. What they got to watch is the gap in the middle. When you're overloading the front, there tends to be that gap there. You can tell they're trying to rely on Kevin Lambert to pick up that space.
Official scoring sheet stats is showing Shannon Gomez was assessed a yellow card in extra time.
Must have been off the bench.
Yeah.
Getting feisty.
Just administrative. So San Antonio, 45 minutes left in their season. See what type of fight they have. Detroit, with this result, would solidify their spot as the 3 seed. Already will be playing a home match to begin the playoffs. Cross.
You know, I think sometimes there's players in these situations who, you know, almost it feels like an obligation to prove the other team wrong. You know, you're down by 2, you've got less guys on the field, and at that point, you just want to shock everyone. And so I'm hoping that that's the mentality that they have in this, because it's the kind of the one you have to have.
Beautiful leave. Just a glance of the head keeps the ball in the box, and a strike, and Cisniega, quick reflexes, diving to the left to keep that ball out of net.
Incredible save there from Cisniega. I felt like that initial service in was offside. Would love to see that back, but ref said play on, and again, just getting a little bit of space. That's the one qualm I had is when you're going to overload the front, there's going to be gaps in the middle, which means dribbling at the defense a little bit easier. It's tough on the defense here.
Corner from the far side for Detroit City. Struck. And better be watching out if you're behind goal. That one had some heat.
Yeah. Whew. Gonna lose a head.
You have your mid-nacho.
Oh, man. On the phone. We'll have a look back at that one. Clearance over the net there.
Katie, we've been talking prior to the match, but areas for improvement. You've talked personnel changes, potential things, but for the San Antonio club that has been so successful under their head coach, Alan Marcina, over these years, this year really the aberration from the norm, but what do you expect to see in terms of areas for improvement, changes in the offseason?
I think their biggest thing is finding better ways to keep your squad healthy. They lost 170 matches of guys who had missed from injury. That's a lot. Like the combined injuries of matches lost, that is just not okay. And when you have so many guys on the team facing challenges, physical challenges, that begs the question of what's going on in preseason, what's happening in the weight room and at lunch and dinner and breakfast. Is the recruiting happening with people who have injury?
No one there in red. So the ball skirting across the pitch.
San Antonio doing so good just to stay relevant here despite being down a man. Really impressive. They're choosing to take that hit in the back. I think that's wise. You got nothing to lose, you know, so might as well put some goals up.
Strike here, trying to go far post. Does not make Saldana work.
Oh, man, looking at that development, you can tell that Lucho is not too sure where it's coming from. He gets an eye on it. Again, a quick trigger, but it's so well defended there by Carroll. Man, he was going for that opposite side netting. That would have been a nice bit of relief there for San Antonio.
Player down on the pitch near midfield, sitting up, but going to be attended to. To go back to your point, you look across the course of the season, 30 some odd matches. You mentioned 170 cumulative matches missed. So you're talking 6-7 seasons worth of matches cumulatively for players that have missed across the course of the season. It's no secret. It's like times I've been down here, it's a broken record in terms of injuries. As Maxi Rodriguez, the San Antonio product, goal scorer earlier in this match in the 28th. Looking at that chin.
Yeah, not only that, just going back to San Antonio, all the call-ups from international duty, at 6 different guys on national teams. So you pair that with the injuries, and it just was impossible for San Antonio to really get a foothold. But then you couple that in with, you know, losing one of your big-time key goal scorers, your other goal scorer not coming back until half of the season later. So, you know, of course you want a ton of focus on your defense. You want the creative guy in the middle, but I think for them, they're really going to be looking at who they're putting up top next season, who can come back or not. And, you know, those losses that they had, I mentioned 10 out of 11 games at one point was a losing streak. That's not okay. Really not okay. So it's not letting those losses snowball. I know in that pocket of time there were academy players playing, really young kids, 15-year-old kids playing in a men's league. So you feel for them, but at the end of the day, they're not a team that's going to make excuses. So they just got to figure out how to make it better moving forward. It's a whole fresh start after this.
And top-tier goal scorers, I think it bears mentioning, at this level, those are at a premium.
Yes.
If you are at a top tier in terms of your goal scoring, you are going to be looked at, and you're going to be very valuable. It's easier to replace or plug and play, maybe at other positions as an attack, and another goal for Detroit. We'll make it 3-0 after the substitution to leave into the middle. Morris there as Detroit will celebrate the 3 on the board.
Detroit just having themselves a game. It comes from that distribution in the middle there. As I'd mentioned, there was a big pocket. They ran into it, and it's that late run completely unmarked. Part of that is because they moved a couple guys from defense into offense, trying to get ahead on the score sheet. And when you do that, it leaves the back open just a little bit, or in this case, quite a bit. Wide open shot there for Detroit.
So vibe, spirits high for the visitors. Detroit seeking that 3 seed in the Eastern Conference, already with their spot locked in the playoffs. Figure that they have done their work, needing just a draw. A win would definitely have done it. Now up 3-0. Morris with the goal in the 54th.
That'll be his 9th goal of the season. Also has 4 assists so far. You know, between him and Maxi Rodriguez, those were those key guys that you had to watch. It, you know, it's not always fun to go into a game and say, okay, he's got a lot of goals, we got to shut him down. But it's tough when they're overloading one side as well. Makes you wonder how San Antonio handles this. Do they sit back a little more? Do they continue with the game plan? And speaking of game plan, you know, that was another issue there in the beginning of season. We saw a really different style of play than we were used to. First, let's look at this replay. Yeah, things get really physical, hand over the shoulder. It's going to be a call all day. Just not really necessary at this point. You're up 3-0. They're down a man. I guess I can admire the aggression and tenacity. Again, another body check. Surprised that one's not called.
That's Lambert.
You could hear that one come through the mic.
Yeah,
you could hear that.
Jump to the ground.
Yeah, and frustrations are high, so it's understandable. But I think what I like about Detroit City is they are keeping their foot on the gas, and that to me is a sign of respect to the team. If you start messing around with it, playing around with it, that's when, you know, it's really hard.
I don't know if you're an NBA watcher, but like the Boston Celtics did on opening night, trying to break the three-point made record against the New York Knicks. They shot 13 consecutive threes and missed all of them.
Oh, man.
But yeah, really, you know, Katie, having listened to you talk to you, you know, this game encapsulating as some space to work for Detroit once again, pressing forward offensively. No whistle on the takedown in the box. Villanueva wanted it, did not get it. Leave ahead. Can San Antonio get on the board? Ucho fighting. Lambert trailing. Ucho moving through. The shot bouncing around. Another shot and a goal! So that one netted. San Antonio finds some positive life.
Hugo in the right place at the right time. It's going to be his third goal here on the season. It's on loan from Toronto FC. For those of you just locking in, that feels to me like a win. To be in this situation, you're down 2 at half. They score another third early on. You're down a man. All the things working against you, and San Antonio continues to fight. That, to me, is next-level character. The aggressive there, Lucho Solignac, and then it's Hugo picking up the scraps, finishing the job. Hey, if they could get another one, cut the lead, you know, that's a win. It's small wins. Take the wins where you can, right?
So Mbangu scores. Lakava unhappy. Excuse me, Hawkinson. But much needed positive momentum for San Antonio. I was going to say the game in encapsulation, it was fight all the way through. In the first half, it was just a nice piece of goal scoring from Maxi Rodriguez. It's a whistle on Jorge Hernandez. But then those last 2 minutes, getting out of hand for San Antonio, with Manley being sent off, San Antonio playing a man down.
Probably didn't see Jorge coming out of nowhere there on that one. Surely ref is aware of the time being spent here on the ground. Of course he's going to get a talking to. Definitely not card worthy. But again, if you're coach and you've got guys fighting in this situation, hey, I'll take it. I will take it all day long. And that's why you got to respect your opponent. Classic example. Jorge works to chase down his own pass on that one.
Saw just the spirit of Jorge there. Mbangu a little dispirited after the pass was too far in front, and Jorge saying, I don't have time for that. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to chase down this ball.
Yeah, and that just speaks volumes about Jorge. That's why he's always in the ranks. That's why he's always in the talks of, you know, being that guy who stirs stuff up on the field, working to just chase his own pass.
Second ball on the pitch. Child was on the pitch as well, it looked like.
Not sure why the ref let that play on.
Yeah, just trying to retrieve the ball and just rectified. It was Ball trying to be thrown in if it needed on a throw in, but this with the smoke trailing across the front of the goal. San Antonio trying to strike again as this game has found an interesting tenor. Chaos mixed with a little bit of late season theatric.
Man, that
Nothing
smoke really,
to lose.
Yeah, that smoke really could have worked to their advantage on that one.
It's still
They just got
across.
a shot off, yeah. But man, you could just, if we could zoom in on Luke Hawkinson's face as he was booking it back, you can tell he is just going through some pain out there. I mean, he did everything to get back. One of those players who is 100% leaving it all on the field. I mean, I don't know that I've seen this team want it more, despite the circumstances. And I really love that for each of these guys out here.
Going to see more substitutions coming in too for Detroit. Jop will sit down. An assist on that third goal by Morris.
Sheldon also making his way in. For Reese Williams, changing things up a bit there. We've got Laurent Kisadou, 2 goals and an assist. Had one of those against Miami, is on a roll here as of late. Could change things up. Nothing like adding a spark off the bench when there's already tons of fireworks out here tonight.
Hernandez scrapping, teams getting together. Teammate pushing teammate to keep them off, as now everybody will collect. Fans are displeased.
Not going out without a literal fight, as they say. I mean, look, he's got his jersey. He's trying to hold him off. He continues to hold the jersey. I think part of that was from the initial foul a couple plays ago. You know how it is. Tit for tat, getting people back.
Shannon Gomez will come in. I mentioned had received a yellow card. Buckmaster will sit down. So what's in store for the remainder 27 plus minutes of this match that has found still a competitive spirit and a feistiness for a team in San Antonio that will see their season end, and a team in Detroit that is playing for bigger things in the playoffs.
I mean, putting Shannon Gomez in there, I think, is a great idea. He's a veteran. The veterans have done so well this season.
Great leave by Jorge Hernandez for Gomez. Gomez playing down the right. Cross is chipped into the air. Headed to Lambert. Dispossessed momentarily. Fighting Hawkinson, Lambert to the back line.
San Antonio doing everything they can to just stay in it. Detroit still not out of danger yet. Quick switches on there to Shannon. I like that he went over the top with it there.
Lucho drawn 2 defenders. San Antonio fighting. There's no give up.
It's a good clearance there from Bonnie. Again, just not giving up. I think that's the biggest thing here, is that all guys have locked in. They've all agreed to it. Feels like one of those blood pack situations in the locker room. I'll die for you. We've all been there. And there's so much back and forth in pace because of the missing player here for San Antonio FC.
Yeah, there's a lot of space on the pitch.
Yeah, there's just so much happening all the time. It's really picked things up.
1-on-1 and a fourth goal for Detroit. Morris gets his second of the night, and he will gritty with his teammate. As a 65th for Ben Morris.
I'm not totally sure how this was onside, but ref says go. But it's that finish there. Morris, composed, calm, adds another goal to the sheet tonight. Exactly what you want moving into playoffs. But, oh man, this hurts for San Antonio. It could be that Shannon Gomez was leaving him on side on the opposite side, but really it looked like an offside call. If I could get a wider shot of that ball moving into the attacking third. Either way, the fact of the matter is that San Antonio's down a goal once again. So back to the drawing board here. And again, you just have to hand it to these guys. The resilience tonight is something else, but Detroit City, they're not taking any prisoners here. Hawkinson continues to put it into play. Shannon trying to get it back into center, and part of the struggle here is losing it in these tough spots that allow for the counter. Now you've got Luis Solignac here down on the field. Bit of a yucky tackle from behind. We'll have a look back at it. Yeah, that one looked like it hurt. He's holding his ankle. But I mean, across the board, that one was tough. But the flip side, a set piece here, a kind of dangerous spot. Mucho not happy with the ref. I don't think anybody in the stadium happy with the ref. It's going to be Jorge Hernandez here on the kick.
So Hernandez will serve the ball, headed out.
Cleared once again there from Detroit. Just scuffle after scuffle. Intensity is rising.
Mentioned for Detroit, they have not lost on the road since July 31st. They have not lost. Won since August 24th, 4-4-0. It's the team second best in goals conceded. So they pride themselves on the ability to stifle opponents.
Good stuff there from Bonnie. I mean, you can see it across the board here. These guys are exhausted. It's an uphill battle for them at this point. It's just staying in it, sticking around. You've got guys on the field who haven't seen a ton of minutes recently, and they're expected to go 100 miles per hour, struggling to do so.
Story in this one, outside of Detroit solidifying their third seed in the Eastern Conference standings, it'll be Carter Manley and the red card he received to close out as that header off the corner into the chest of Cisniega. But Manley, who said after 7 incredible years of getting to live out his dream of playing professional soccer, is hanging up his boots and retiring from the game. Unfortunately for Manley and San Antonio fans, is getting into it again. Hernandez.
That's the third jersey pull this game.
Amumensa, so Devin Amumensa and Hernandez, you see, just no love lost between the two tonight.
But at what point do you start carding for that? Because it's a repeat offense.
Blanco will sit down. Briguito will come in for San Antonio.
The last showing from Briguito ended up with a goal. Maybe they're hoping for some magic from him off the bench here.
It'll be hard to not talk about Manley and his contribution to this franchise. Unfortunately, we can't show you him because of the red card and having to watch the final 45 minutes, and did receive the standing ovation from the crowd on his way out. Is another whistle.
You know, going back to Manley, he could pull a Tom Brady and unretire, and then retire again, and then unretire, then retire again, right? I mean, Nobody's really holding him to it if he wants a slightly different ending. He is the creator of his own world, but again, if this is the final game for him, that is just really unfortunate.
Coach Marcina saying of Carter Manley, he's been an outstanding individual, exemplary professional throughout his time with us. He's truly evolved into a remarkable leader and played a pivotal role in our championship victory. We've shared countless unforgettable memories. He's been a tremendous source of inspiration and a model professional, those aspiring to reach the highest levels. Hernandez scrapping, push down, no whistle. Reguido, who just checked in, is fighting. Leave back for Lucho, trying to fight for space. We'll try the cross, but too deep.
That ball, that should have been a call right there near the D, the initial foul. We'll look at it here. I mean, he's dribbling forward. There's a jersey pull. There's a full-on shove. Maybe the ref is trying to play advantage. There was no advantage. There's nothing but white jerseys in the box. But even then, San Antonio continued.
Play back to Cisniega. Amu Mensah.
There's the card that should have been had a long time ago.
Been playing very physical and aggressive out there, but that elbow to the back of the head of Lambert will warrant a yellow card. You would think, Katie, that these two teams were maybe conference rivals getting together for the upteenth time and plenty of history, but Detroit has come in. San Antonio's given them no quarter, but two scrappy teams showing very much disdain for one another.
Right, well, maybe it's a budding rivalry here rather than a budding romance.
Yeah, I would wonder, Detroit to San Antonio, the mileage difference, it's got to be about as far as you're going to find across USL.
Yeah, this has got to feel toasty for them, too.
I don't think it's 88 degrees in Detroit right now.
Yeah. I mean, they've done so well. Yes, of course, San Antonio is struggling, and there have been some questionable calls, but really Detroit, they've brought quality stuff no matter what. A lot of times you see when another team goes down, they just can't find the seams, but they've been able to do that here.
Also, too, when a team's heading to the playoffs and they've already locked up their spot, there's that question for coaches and players. Do you play? How hard do you play? Are you resting guys? Or are you trying to hit playoffs with your form that's got you there? And for Detroit, one would say, based on the result tonight and the effort that we've seen tonight, they're going into the playoffs with some healthy momentum and good mojo.
With some venom, to say the least. I mean, they're firing on all cylinders here. So, again, it sometimes comes down to momentum and rhythm. This referee may need to be escorted to his car after this game. The San Antonio fans not happy. It's a nice little Meg and a beat around for Kissadoo.
Hawkinson displeased. Heard a lot of whistle.
It's pretty much a corner kick opportunity here, so as long as everyone's marked up in the box.
Rick's really hearing it now from the home crowd that has stayed out. Haven't seen anybody empty out and leave for this one as we cross into the 75th minute. Punched over by Cisniega, will bounce to the other corner, coming off the not corner kick.
Yeah. Well, you know, I will say, despite the scoreline, we'll have a look back at this first. Well done there from Cisniega. Just, again, he's coming in some key times. It's been an unfortunate game for him here. 4 in the net on this one. But as I was saying, I think people are sticking around because despite the scoreline, it's actually a really interesting and entertaining game between the drama and other counter opportunities. San Antonio continues to have a forward-thinking mindset.
So Daniel will come on and Mumensa will sit down. I don't think he'll receive an ovation from the San Antonio crowd.
Yeah, really no need to eat up time here. Cedeno and Amo coming in. Amo with 3 goals and 3 assists. Cedeno 3 goals and assists. So I think, the good thing about Detroit is that they've spread the scoring out amongst one another. Yes, of course, you've got Maxi Rodriguez and Ben Morris leading the team, but still ton of guys on the stat sheet here. And at the end of the day, that's what really brings a team success. You can't rely on 1 or 2 players. And then also, just going back to the system that San Antonio played, they were known for their direct physical style in the beginning. They tried to start more of a possession approach. The yellow there to Hawkinson.
Quickly shown. There's displeasure from James Murphy, as he did not like how his teammate.
That was a football tackle, is what that looked like.
American
shoulder
football.
Down, yeah, American football.
Yeah, might have had to look at that one for targeting.
White flag.
I'm just trying to send a message a little bit, and hey, we're not going to go out. You can't just move the ball around. San Antonio still playing without a man, so just 10 on the pitch after Manley was shown the red card in the closing stages of the opening half.
Looks like Detroit still a little bit in their head about it in that one, having cleared that one straight out of bounds.
Feels like for Detroit, too, very well connected, sum of the parts type squad. There's no standout that you say, oh, well, this is how they go. Detroit wins when such and such plays well. Seems like a very comprehensive, complete team, has an identity. Mentioned second best in terms of goals conceded. They're good on the road. Defense travels. And when you can travel your defense, you can win on the road. For Detroit, they get to start at home for the playoffs, but tip of the cap for a very good squad that we've seen tonight in Detroit.
Yeah, every single player on this field is bringing quality stuff, and then even off the bench, great stuff. Alex Villanueva really wanted to have a go at it. He's no longer on the field here for Detroit, but it really felt like a matter of time before he was going to sink one in this game.
Can San Antonio find another bright spot?
It's been a couple of times Jesus Berguido has received it there in the middle of the field. Needs a little bit of a quicker trigger. Almost some pretty stuff there from Lucho. Looked like he was attempting a backheel shot. Would love to see that.
Whistle blown. Katie, too, you've chronicled the story for San Antonio and their injuries, and when you have rotating personnel, it becomes hard to develop an identity. That's something that with Coach Marcina over the years, it's been well known across the USL what the identity is for the San Antonio franchise, what you're going to get when you have to come down here to San Antonio and play at Toyota Field. But it's hard to do that when your personnel is moving in and out of the lineup.
Yeah, and I think they still continue to bring that toughness, right? That physicality, no doubt. Over time, they kind of switched back to their usual system, which really worked for them there versus the possession style they tried to start off with. And, you know, as you lose players, it all changes. Everything changes. What the system you're trying to run, how many people you're loading up on defense or not, whether the team up top feels comfortable enough to get up and try to have a go at it. Good look there from Hugo. Better save from Carlos Saldana.
Hugo, the goal scorer for San Antonio.
You know, that's the thing about Hugo. He's not going to be going 100 miles per hour up top, but when he has a good look, he's taking it. He's very, very choosy with his shots, intelligent up top.
Detroit got one in the 28th from Maxi Rodriguez, and then another off a free kick after the red card was given to Carter Manley, ending his night and his SAFC and professional soccer career in extra time. Then Detroit, a third quickly, San Antonio responding. Morris has 2 for Detroit. We're in the final 10 minutes of the regular season. Bigger storylines across the league, across the USL. What are you looking forward to come playoff time?
You know, I feel like Phoenix is one of the dark horses. You know, of course, they barely made it in, but they continue to bring really good stuff. I think, no, they're a team that you definitely want to watch and keep an eye on. Sac Republic, notoriously, forever and ever, has been a good team historically.
Louisville City was playing tonight, looking to equal the regular season wins record of 24 that SAFC, as we take a look at the opportunity.
Hugo almost cutting the lead in half here.
Well, and Hernandez trying to get that playmaker award for the second year running to break the tie. But Louisville City trying to equal the single season wins record that SAFC and Phoenix Rising have set. For SAFC, it was in 22. For Phoenix Rising in 2019, 24 wins. Katie, it just goes to show you, though, with a season like this, that San Antonio, 10 wins, it looks like they will finish with. When you have seasons as special as 22, when you win 24 matches across a regular season campaign, and then not only do such in the regular season, go on to solidify and punctuate that with the all-important thing, because you know what they say, it don't mean a thing if you don't win the ring.
If it ain't got that swing is where I thought you were going with it, but you're right, you know. But I will say, a lot of times the valleys teach you a lot more than the peaks ever will. I mean, I know every one of these guys is going to have a story to tell after this. They're going to learn from their mistakes. Whether that be a tactical or technical thing, or, you know, on the human side of it too, you know, relationships and carrying yourself in these really tough moments and digging yourself out of a hole, so to speak. And even on the coaching side, you know, it's tough when you're faced with a problem like this, and the mindset that you have throughout all of it. You got to hand it to Alan Marcina.
What are some of your favorite moments from the season? There were bright spots.
You know, it's Carter Manley's bicycle kick against, I believe it was Monterey Bay. It was in the 7th minute, and it was a bicycle kick. And it was just so shocking and unthought of, because, you know, the previous 2 seasons, only a single goal for him. And then he comes up with a bicycle kick, and that's his second goal of this season.
Where you been hiding that?
Yeah.
Detroit back the other way, sliding down in the box, 2 players. But for San Antonio, the important was the attacker had gone down. Okay, so other favorite moments?
I mean, you know, anytime that they have a comeback win, that's always really nice as well. I mean, I've called so many games at this point, you know, that it all blurs together a little bit. But, you know, as unfortunate as this game is, I think the character that we're seeing in these guys really says something about what they're going to be able to do after this. And, you know, that's the bright spot for me. That's the bright spot they can carry into next season. It's just this unending desire to continue and to push forward. Also, Luke Hawkinson had a killer goal against Miami FC. I remember it was his first or second game, and he came in, and it was just an absolute banger. One touch, half volley into the upper 90. Just, a jaw-dropping shot. And, I will say for Luke, the goals that he has have been jaw-dropping. Like, there's nothing short of gorgeous when it comes to his looks at the goal. And again, a player who's been tasked with playing multiple different positions. So not always being in a position to get those looks, and still bringing his best stuff. It's like Shannon Gomez still bringing the fight.
Matt Sheldon, the player with Detroit, is exchanging words with. Okay, personnel-wise, is there anybody that you have your pulse on? You can say, okay, for sure, this player will be back. Is it all bets are off? Every position's open for San Antonio. Who do you build around? What does it look like roster construction come beginning of next year?
Yeah, I can't totally speak to that. I'm more so ballparking, considering the situation, but there's been so many incredible things. Kendall Burks leading the league in clearances, doing a ton of great stuff, and he's still so very young. Sky is the limit for him. You've also got Mitch Tainer, the face of San Antonio. He's going to be back. He brings that intensity and grit, that captain mentality that you just, it's so hard to coach and find that when you get somebody like that. You got to keep him around. And then, of course, Jorge Hernandez will be lucky if he stays in San Antonio. Let's just say that, because this is his second season consistently bringing results. Again, despite him being on a winning team or a losing team, he does not change.
Just misplaced that ball, leads to an opportunity for Detroit. This one chipped around Cisniega, but the whistle does blow. Detroit will not get their fifth.
Hearts were sinking there in that one, and it's just about probably half a step offside in that moment. San Antonio doing good to try to hold them on side. It worked, obviously. But again, still a couple minutes to go. There's going to be some extra time. Continue working towards that second goal. One small win at a time.
One of the biggest positives is that San Antonio, under Coach Marcina, has solidified themselves as one of the top programs, one of the top institutions within USL Championship, a place where the expectations are high. The expectation is a winning culture. So they've set the bar so high for themselves that when you don't make the playoffs, it can feel disappointment for the fans, for the players. No one more so than the players, coaches that pour their blood, sweat, tears throughout. We come in, we get to talk about these matches as Lucho leaves it for Hernandez. Hernandez, as he is wont to do, trying to just find a teammate, doesn't lead to a scoring opportunity.
I think he was looking for the assist. Maybe should have gone for goal in that one.
But point being, I think San Antonio has a clearly defined program, the way that they want to play. It's just a matter of finding those pieces. And like you've stressed, injuries, you can't always control injuries. Health luck across the course of a season at any level, sometimes a crapshoot, you know, but you just have to play through them, play through the adversity as much as you can. But there does come a breaking point, which I think San Antonio at times hit that this year.
Yeah, so it's, finding solutions to that. But you brought up an interesting point about expectations. Everyone had really high expectations. Even in the beginning, if there was a couple of draws or a loss, you were already hearing it from a lot of people, oh, this and oh, that, and that's really hard. As a team, and especially walking into a program where you maybe yourself expect to be the best and to win, and then when you're faced with adversity, what happens, right? So again, all learning lessons and lessons in attachment, right? So that's the final whistle.
4-1, no extra time. Detroit coming in, they will set their sights on the playoffs that they will start at home for the first time in franchise history for San Antonio. Their season ends 9th in the Western Conference. Katie, any final thoughts on the match, the season?
Yeah, I mean, I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but I love the fight that I saw from the San Antonio squad. I like where Detroit City is headed. Really gave their all here. They did not take it easy on San Antonio. If I'm San Antonio, that's exactly what I'm wanting. I want you to respect me as an opponent. They did that. San Antonio fought back to get one on them. We saw a lot of young talent. We saw a lot of new talent. We saw adversity. We saw overcoming adversity and falling to it, right? Every storyline that could have happened probably happened here for San Antonio. So now for these guys, what are they doing after this final whistle to get back in it for next season?
Unfortunately, we didn't get to properly send off Carter Manley, who ends his SAFC career, but the books closed on San Antonio's season. Detroit City FC victorious 4-1. So that is it for the 24 season. For Katie Goodman, our whole crew, Tyler Denning, so long from San Antonio. We will see you next season.
United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.
Was going to be your last match. We wanted to do something special for you. So at this time, we can take a look up at the video board to honor your time here in San Antonio. Let's take a look.